Mom and Dad, are you ready?
Today's word is stupendous.
You need some encouragement.
We really love listening to you guys.
You need some inspiration.
We just found your Stupendous Marriage podcast.
Oh, I love that word. Stupendous!
Stupendous marriage encouragement from Stu and Lisa on the Stupendous Marriage Show.
Hey there, welcome to the Stupendous Marriage Show. My name is Stu Gray.
Hey, I'm Lisa Gray.
What's going on, honey?
Oh, nothing. We're back to recording at night in the dark. I mean, we're not in the dark, but it is different feeling. You know, last time we recorded, it was during the day, and the studio has a window that's covered, but you can still see the light a little bit. And today I feel like we're back in the cave of recording of night.
That's great. How does that make you feel?
It makes me sleepy, honestly, but I'll be okay. It's all right. So, you know, this weekend at church, we had a guest speaker. It was really good, and it's been something I've been thinking about for the past several days, and you and I have talked about a couple times, but how we see God, and that sometimes we start to see God in a predictable way. So let's say we see God as a God that provides, and He's provided this way another time, and then we're needing provision, and all of a sudden we keep thinking He's going to do that same thing, and how even though we should know Him, He should still be somewhat unfamiliar so that we're expectant to see the new things He's going to do. And man, that just really has me thinking about the show and the way we did things when we recorded before, and then we took that break, and it's like, I'm really excited to see what God's going to do with it this time, and I don't want to put it in a box that it's got to be a certain way and how it's going to be, you know? So I don't know, I've been in deep thoughts, actually, since church. So what
Obviously,
about you?
The story that he used was Joshua, and how Joshua was witness to so many things that God had done, getting the Israelites out of Egypt and then through the wilderness and in the presence of God. You know, when Moses was meeting with God, Joshua would be outside, and then he went into the promised land. And not doing this out of order, but Joshua was like the right-hand man to everything that God had done. And then it got to this point where he needed to do something different. He needed to go into Jericho with the people, and none of his experiences with God could help him go forward. He needed God to show up right there. And God showed up. He said, "Are you on my side or the enemy's side?"
He said neither, right?
Yeah, he said neither. I'm the leader of the angel armies, the host of heaven, and now is the time for me to show up. And it's like the speaker said, what happens is when we don't know how to go forward, we try to do it ourselves and go back to our old experiences and try to force God into those things, or try to use something that we've had from our past to go forward. And what we need is the unfamiliar piece of God to go to Him, and actually He comes and talks with us and gives us forward momentum and gives us vision on how to do the new thing that He wants us to do. It's really easy to carry that burden myself and just go, okay, this is not working. The money is not in the bank. It's the end of the month. And how do I make this happen?
Right.
And how can we make more money from this? Or how can we figure out the kid thing? Or how can we figure out X, Y, Z, whatever the situation is? Instead of going to God, we try to do it ourselves. God, what does this look like? And how do we move forward in this particular situation? I don't naturally do that.
Yeah.
And I try to shoulder it myself. You would think with my experience of going through recovery and seasons of that and over the process, and that's been a consistent part of my life and growth and things like that. They call it the 1, 2, 3 waltz, because the first 3 steps are, to sum up, I can't, God can, I think I'll let Him. And
That's so great.
Yeah, and that's kind of a little recovery aphorism type thing. They sum up the first 3 steps like that. But you find out that your experience with God doesn't necessarily match life sometimes, and God shows up in different ways, and you realize you can't handle it yourself, and God has to come and show you a way through it. It's that whole cast your cares on the Lord because he cares for you, instead of, I'm going to put them on myself and I'm going to try to wade my way through this crazy situation.
Well, and I think that's human nature for us to do that. I think it's really easy to have tunnel vision and live in this worldly view instead of like, oh, wait a minute, there's something way bigger than me happening here. The funny thing was the pastor actually used this great example about his wife and how he's been married for 20-something years, and he still feels like he's getting to know her. That every time he thinks he has her figured out, she changes. And for me, I thought, wow, it's a great thought to put into thinking about God that way, but also our spouse. Like our son was sitting in the church service with us and he heard this teaching and we were talking about it after at dinner. And I was reminding him, like, I'm still getting to know your dad. Like, he is a different person now than he was last year and the year before. And he's still getting to know me. And I think that's a really good reminder for every marriage and every relationship to know we don't have to have each other figured out, and we actually shouldn't. We should be waiting to see, like, hey, where are you going? Like, where are you moving and changing and growing and all those things that we really want our spouses to do, instead of just like, I know what he's going to say. And I hear that all the time in marriages, that people like, yeah, I don't even ask anymore because I know what the answer is going to be. No, you don't.
Our tendency is to want familiar and to be familiar. Our brains are actually wired like that. We have habits that we develop in our lives, and we don't think about these habits. You probably get up and get out of bed the same way, get in the shower, do things in the bathroom the exact same way every day.
Yes.
And we're wired to do that because if we weren't wired to do that, our brains would have to make 50 million, 111 decisions by the time we had coffee. So we tend to do that with our spouses too, and that's a problem place because they are continually changing. They are continually growing. You are different. You have some things that are the same, but you probably have different reasons that they're the same. You know what I mean? Even on the surface, they might look the same, but they're probably not down deep. So the tendency to think we know this other person that we share life with can be a big problem.
I do so many things on an unconscious level. Like, I'll sit there and go, did I take my vitamins today? Well, I would have thought I would remember that I took my vitamins, but did I or did I not? Because I don't think about it when I do it. Well, unfortunately, marriage can become that. You can just get so busy, you can get so distracted that oftentimes it becomes a thing that goes last in your priorities and goes on autopilot. And I know I've very much been at fault there, where I have done that I just look up and all of a sudden a week has gone by and I'm like...
And I'm nowhere to be found.
And you know where...
Yeah, I'm like in Zimbabwe or something. It's like, where did he go?
No.
Oh, is that not what you meant?
But I feel like I haven't had a conversation with you other than to say, hey, what do we have for dinner? What do we...
That is a constant struggle in our house, by the way.
That is a constant struggle. And who's doing what, when, where. And those sometimes are the only conversations that we get to have for several days at a time. And it's just unfortunate. The teaching was so good in relationship to thinking about God and the way he should be unfamiliar to us. It so much applies to our marriages and our other relationships, especially the ones that are significant too.
We've got an email coming up. You can send us yours always on air at stupendousmarriage.com, or try out the brand new line to ask us a question at 1-615-592-1060. Let's get to the email for today. Hey there, Stu and Lisa. My wife and I have been married 22 years. We have 4 boys, but we've always had issues with sex. I would like physical intimacy to be a journey that we go on together. I compare it to traveling. There's this big world out there. I want to go see these destinations with my wife. I want to go on a journey and see stuff with her, not by myself or with somebody else. I want to communicate about, explore, experiment, and figure out that journey together. Since we got married, it's usually me that initiates any conversations, new things, and sexual times. She will initiate sex about once every other month. She'll talk a little bit about sex if I bring it up, but doesn't like to talk about it. I've tried to encourage her to think about what she wants, and she says she doesn't know. She always asks me, when is it enough? Why isn't what we do good enough? And I say that it's not about the act, it's about the journey and exploring this together. In the last 6 years, she's been a willing participant in just about anything I ask her to do. I've been feeling, though, that maybe she'll never want to come on this journey with me, that she will always view sexual intimacy as an act that she does for me. I've had a hope that she would realize how important physical intimacy is to our marriage, but this week I started to let go of this hope. I told her that I would be affectionate, do the things that she wanted to do, but I would no longer pursue and push her to have sex. That I'd always be here for her if she ever wanted to go on that journey with me. I respect your advice. Let me know your thoughts on if I did the right thing or not. Thanks.
I love the analogy of going on a journey together and seeing it that way. I think that's a really great visual concept for people to think about intimacy in your marriage, not as a destination, like just doing the act, but actually as a journey to learn exactly what we were talking about a minute ago, learn more about each other. And I think that's a really good way to think about it. Unfortunately, it sounds like there's a disconnect in that conversation between them. I know you and I have had conversations about how we were raised to think about sex, and I would really encourage him first to try to have a conversation at the right time, in the right place, and really, instead of saying, I want to have this conversation with you again about sex, really saying, I want to understand what you think about it. I want to understand what deep down your thought processes are about the overall part of being intimate in a relationship. Because for you and me, I know when we've had those conversations, and I didn't even honestly know on a conscious level what I thought. But when we've had those conversations, I realized, when I was brought up as a woman, a young woman, I was told sex was bad, touching body parts was bad, that everything was bad. And it wasn't even in context of in and out of marriage. It was just like, just don't do it, right?
Right, sure.
So then you grow up and you get in marriage and everybody's like, woohoo! And it's like, well, wait a minute. I've been programmed for many, many years to think that it's bad. And so I had to stop and really think about what I was thinking about on an unconscious level.
Maybe this is a tip too for someone, that guys resonate with word pictures a lot of times. And if you're having problems communicating with your husband, attach a picture to it. He might understand it a little bit better. This gentleman talking about the journey going on together, I thought was amazing too. Of course, little Einstein's theme went through my head though. We're going on a trip on our favorite rocket ship, going through the sky, little. And I was like,
you are a dad.
Maybe that's not where he was intending to go. But
oh, that is so bad.
so that was one of my first thoughts. But the thing I wanted to hit on was right at the end of the email. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope. We have a God. We serve a God. We love a God, and God loves us. He is bigger than any problem, anything that we ever face in our marriage, including sex. And she may not be there yet. You said 22 years together. You have 4 wonderful kids together. Do not give up hope, because you can either move towards your spouse or away from your spouse. There's not a lot of middle ground there. And you giving up hope in this area will cause problems in other areas. Do not give up hope. Yes, the journey is long. Be persistent. Be consistent. Do what Lisa just suggested. Talk about her feelings and the things behind where she might be. You got to remember, God puts 2 different people together. We're wired differently. We think differently. We have different amounts of emotional space in our lives. It may have been Harville Hendricks who talked about the love tank.
Right.
Okay?
I thought about that too.
And so here's the deal. You've got a different size than she has.
We're talking about the tank, right? That sounded like a really sorry.
Yes. We're talking about the love tank.
Okay,
all right?
okay.
So you may have a big metal trash can full of love to give, but she may have a thimble. And that's all she can give, and that's all she knows how to give. That's all she thinks about. but you have more words that you want to put to your sexual life too, and meaning and depth, and you've probably tried to share that with her and been shot down, unfortunately, or looked at with eyes like, I don't understand what you're talking about. And we're different. I mean, I get that with Lisa sometimes. I'll try to be explaining a song or, hey, here's this or something like that. And you get this glazed over look like, what are you talking about? And why are you telling me this? But I do the same with you. You'll go into real estate talk and talk
Yes,
about, this going on, that, or money or, something along, budget here, blah, blah, blah. And I'll go like, blah, and I don't have anything to give you. We have different tanks for different things. And obviously this is a big difference for you guys. Obviously, you've managed for 22 years and tried to encourage her to come along. I don't know what her side of things are. We only hear one side in every email, of course.
There was a line in here that actually I have felt before and you and I have talked about before, which is, when is it ever going to be enough? Can't you appreciate what you have? And you and I have had that conversation where there's been times that I've been like, hey, can't you just be happy with what we're doing? Why do you have to, or why do you want to go here? And honestly, I think that is something that is really something for him to think about. What is he focusing on? Because what you focus on grows. So if he's focusing on resenting her for not being able to fill his picture to do exactly what he has imagined, maybe he needs to change his expectations and appreciate the things she is doing. Because I can tell you, a lot of men would be very glad to have a wife who, and I'll repeat what he said, which is does almost everything I've asked her to do,
Right.
who orgasms every time, who is willing to be intimate with me on a consistent basis. Like, there's a lot of men listening.
Yeah, true.
They'd be like, man, I want to have that problem.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think really changing the mindset of going, you know what, Lord, I am grateful for my wife, and just really focusing on that and trying to figure out what her love language is, how you can really love her well, not for the intimacy, but how you can really love her well. Because I know when you and I had that conversation, I really realized that being intimate is a way that you receive love. And when we were able to have that conversation, it made me actually want to be intimate more, because I do love you and I do want you to feel loved. It wasn't about it not being good enough. It wasn't about it not filling this expectation and this picture that you had in your head. It was out of the desire of my heart that I wanted you to feel loved. But that had to be a process that I went through, where there was a time that I literally said, man, why is what I'm doing not enough for you? And I had to really stop and go, what's happening here on a deeper level? And I think you also changed during that journey as well, to where you did lower your expectations, and then it made me want to raise mine.
I saw an Instagram post literally just went by in the past 48 hours that said, sex is to husbands what communication is to wives.
Yeah. And a lot of women don't know that. We just don't. Again, it's how we were trained as young women. At least it was for me. I was trained that all they want, all those guys want, don't give it to them because all they want is sex. Well, that's not the case. That's not all you want. But at the same time, it is a way that you receive love from your wife.
It's also a way to give love to our wives. Mm-hmm. And it's not just for guys. Sex is not just for men. There is enjoyment and pleasure for women as well.
Absolutely. I mean, he said she enjoys it.
Right. Right.
So it's a great thing that they have this great thing that so many people in their marriage wish they had, which is they can have intimate time together, and it sounds like they both get a lot of pleasure of it.
Don't give up hope. Keep praying for your wife. Pray together with your wife. Express your heart, your desire for her beyond sexual intimacy. There are various types of intimacy that you can express and show yourself to her. And maybe you take your foot and expectations off the sexual intimacy pedal for a while and pour into hanging out together and being friends.
Absolutely.
Pour into the intimacy of just having good conversations. Pour into the intimacy of being a student of your spouse and finding out more about her and what being a mom has meant to her with the 4 4 sons and what has changed in her life about that.
I love the idea of taking the focus off of the sexual intimacy and really focusing on other things. I think that all women want to be cherished and feel loved and treasured and secure and taken care of. And I don't mean just money. I mean a back rub, take care of something with the kids that you normally wouldn't. Things that are going to fill her tank to where then in return, don't do it because you want her to want to have sex with you more, but let that kind of take its course. And also just rewriting what it looks like. You said yourself, you are on a journey together, but maybe your journey is different from her. She's on a journey too, so you need to figure out how to line up your journeys to where you can be having the same goals, going the same direction, and that might take you adapting your vision and her adapting hers.
Yeah, continue to pursue her in a way that she likes to receive love. And then you also said pushing her to have sex. Don't push her to do anything, but intrigue her and pull things out of her to draw both of you together. That means paying attention to her and pursuing her, not necessarily just in the sexual realm. I'm not saying don't have sex, because that is definitely something you should be doing.
Yeah.
But putting your expectation on top of that seems to be an issue. Thank you so much for this email. You can send your email on air at stupendousmarriage.com.
And in case you are not on our Instagram, you can find us on Instagram at @stupendousmarriage. And we would love to have you follow us there. We've been doing a lot more on the Instagram.
And we wanted to celebrate a little bit. Woohoo! We recently made 500,000 downloads. Thank you so much. We so appreciate you listening to the show, staying with us during our big pause, and then coming back when we started the show again. And it really takes all of us to do this show. And we love hearing from you. We certainly appreciate you. And we pray for you before our show every time that we do the show, that God would inspire and challenge and encourage married couples wherever you listen on this planet of ours. And we're so humbled by that and super excited to see what God does with the next 500,000 downloads. And the stories that we hear about marriages is just incredible. So thank you.
And a great way for you to support the show is to share the show with friends. You can go into the app, wherever you listen, rate us, review us, tell them about what we're doing, go to our Facebook group and join there. We just really do want this to be a community about marriage, and we're just really excited for the next 500,000 downloads.
We'll talk to you next time.
See ya. Yeah.
Like the show.
Yeehaw.
Share the podcast. Tell another couple.
Hold up. But man, it's so I mean, there's no way that word was coming out. My brain and my mouth were.
I think it may have been Howard Hendricks, Harville.
Of orgasm or climaxing.
That she will always.
Is that okay?
You want me to? You want to do that part?
Sure.
To go into it.
Okay, let's start over. Yeah.
Like the show. Share the podcast. Tell your married friends.
Yeah.